but there it is. You can see the value range. You can see that it's maintained from what we had from the start. And you can see that even though it's not our usual structure that we talked about, where the foreground is the darkest thing, in fact, the midground is the darkest thing, it still is all holding together. So let's go ahead and do another one of these. Let's see here, what's a good one? Let's go ahead and do this one. This one's a bit of a different one, and shows a kind of coastline shot here. So let's try to figure this out and how we can break this down. So this is a pretty high key one. We've got some really light values in here, and so let's get that being kind of our light, and we'll actually have that as well. So go pretty light with our midtone, and then really light with our light values. Got a fair bit of contrast here. Now, learning to see values is a bit of a challenge for some people and can take a while to figure out because they look at stuff in color and they have a hard time seeing what those values are. You know, is that a light value? Is that a dark value? How do I tell? And of course, you can, you know, anytime you're really struggling, you can convert things to say black and white. And I've just got it to a key command where you can set your proofing mode to grayscale, and so you can switch back and forth to see what things look like in values. But I encourage you as much as you can to just squint at your work. And the best way to see values is to see values in relation to what's around them. And by that I mean, is what is this rock darker or lighter than this other thing? And well, it's darker. So that's how you can kind of tell how values work, is that all values are relative to one another. And so if you can tell how dark or how light something is compared to something else, that's how you're going to tell where all your values are. So I'm just going to go ahead and simplify this as all our dark shape out here. This is all of a sudden become all light because we've got a pretty large area of this kind of sea foam and waves and stuff like that. And while you're doing this, I do encourage you, even though I haven't here, to put down a perspective grid for this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for this one. And go ahead and grab our perspective grid and put it on a new layer. Make it really nice and dark. Turn off the transfer because I find it kind of annoying, so that it's full opacity instead. And then put in this grid here. And just because it's going to make it easier on my life, delete it from all the other parts. And now we've got a grid here. And so this grid is going to help us a lot to make sure we get this perspective. And so we've got a horizon in here, which makes it really easy to tell exactly where to put our horizon line. When you've got the sea, it's a pretty good indication that that's where the horizon is. So we'll go ahead and put that on there and lock that layer so that we don't have to mess with that again. So now when we're doing this, we've got a good idea of how things should be receding back. And so as I progress with this, we'll keep that in mind to make sure that all this stuff has lots of depth to it.